Well, hey friends, it is week 5 of our Acts study of living on mission. Are you living on mission? Is it backwards? We don't know. All right. Last week I didn't send you a video and only one of you asked. But the one who asked is sweeter than pie, so you maybe already know who I'm talking about. So, week 5, I thought it's time for another video. I'm so excited about this one. I forgot I did this. So today I did day 3 and I had you guys, if you haven't gotten there, I hope this is not a spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, but only one of you watches this video. So, Mary, this might be a spoiler alert, but I have you trace your story. And one of the reasons I do that is because we're talking about Stephen today, or this week, and Stephen actually, when he goes to preach in front of the Sanhedrin, he traces the history, the story of Israel, all the way from Abraham to Joseph, to Moses, and then to Jesus. And I just think there is power in our story. So I heard one of my favorite podcasters, her name is Jamie Ivey. She hosts the Happy Hour, and she interviews a different woman each week about their life. And it's really fascinating. Like, I didn't think I'd like it, but I love it. And there's always a lesson for me in there, even if they're talking about marriage or parenting or any of those other things. So first, I encourage you to go watch it. But second, one of the things she said recently that has stuck with me, I've repeated it to a number of people, is your story is God's story. So when you think about your story, I don't know about you, but there have been many years and many seasons where I didn't really like my story. And in fact, I wish that God would write a different story for me. And I'm wondering if that's you today. And if you've done the timeline. Now, I want you to spend some time on it. I don't want you to glance over this, but as I was filling mine out, there were seasons of action. There were seasons of times where God was asking me to step big and step bold, and you all know my story. But there were also seasons where I was laying low, and in those seasons, I hated those seasons because I'm a task-oriented person, as we've discussed, and I wanted God to be working. And as I look back on my life, those seasons were the times where I learned the valuable lessons that I use today in coaching. And so I want you to look at your life a little bit differently. And I want you to think about some of those seasons where it felt like you were doing nothing and what you were learning during those seasons. So don't just think of events. Think of things that you were learning, lessons learned, seasons where you were lying low, where you were not doing anything, where you felt like you were lost, and how God used those. With that, one of the things I love to do, and actually I've just done some work on what is my process at One Foot. When someone new comes through my door, how do I tell them how I help them make an action plan for a life of purpose? And I did 6 steps, and the biggest step, the first step that people need to take as they walk through my front door is to embrace their story. And so embracing your story is part of that step. So how do we do that? As Stephen was embracing the story of Israel, how do we embrace our life story? So I have 3 easy steps. Well, they're not easy, but they're steps. And the first one is to trace your story. So if you haven't done that, that's on page 103. I encourage you to take some time, like I said, to not just plot the events, but also the seasons where you learn some stuff. And one of the big examples for me is from graduating from seminary to getting my job at the church. It took a long time. It wasn't like next year, or next month. It was years where I was feeling like I was wasting what I knew, my gifts, my talents, my education. But God used that season to prepare me to enjoy the journey, to realize that it didn't matter what I did that for a living, because my mission was surrounding Him, right? And so I could live that mission wherever I am. And to this day, I actually have a conviction that it's not about actually what your job is. It's about the message you are intending to live. And we can live our message in any job. So with that, I want you to trace your story. The second thing I want you to do is celebrate your story, right? I think so many of us don't love our story, and we just want to forget that it's even God, will you rewrite it? Will you rewrite it into something better? Instead, I want you to celebrate it. So I want you to go through that timeline, and I want you to think about the things that you really love about your life, about your life story. What are the things that God has done that you are like, yes, I'm so glad that's in my story. And then I want you to take the things you don't like, the things you wish weren't there. For me, it's no secret. One of the things I had always dreamed about was being a wife and a mom. And mom is not going to happen at this point. Wife could maybe still happen. We'll see. But some days I wish that wasn't there, right? I wish that God had written my story a different way. But as I look back on my life, I love my story. And part of it is the work of saying, how can I look at this stuff from a different perspective? How can I look at the things I don't love about my life and say, how can I embrace this? What are you doing through that piece of my life? And how can I embrace that? How can I look at it from a different perspective to say, God has used that for something else, and that He has a plan that I can trust, right? So I want you to kind of do some soul searching on what you don't like about your life. Okay, step number 3 is really easy. Invite God to transform your story. I've been toying with my marketing messages lately, and one of the ones that I love, even though I'm not sure it will make anyone buy from me, is allowing God to transform your unexpected paths into steps of purpose and faith. And so what if you and I allowed God to transform those unexpected places? For you, it may not be single. Maybe you're married and you wish you never got married. I don't know. Maybe it's a move you made, or a career change you made, or even a career change you never made. What are the unexpected paths that you expected to be different by now that you can invite God in and allow Him to transform it? So what I want you to do is just invite Him in, right? You may not notice a change right away, but over time, you will learn to love your entire story. So I love this Bible verse. It has been my life verse, and I wanted to read it to you because I love this idea that when we allow our story to be in God's hands, He will transform it. So it says, it's Isaiah 62, verses the second half of verse 2 all the way through the first half of verse 4, if that makes sense. So 2 through 4, it says this: you will be called by a new name that the mouth of the Lord will bestow. You will be a crown of splendor in the Lord's hand, a royal diadem in the hand of your God. No longer will they call you deserted or name your land desolate, but you will be called Hephzibah, and your land Beulah, for the Lord will take delight in you, and your land will be married. Now, I've claimed that because I'm single, obviously, but you and I can become like beautiful crown jewels if we allow God and invite Him in. So we'll see you on Monday. Be sure to trace your story, and I can't wait to continue studying how to live on mission with you step by step.